Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Thai Expat Daily Show. I'm your host, Kieran Mack, and I am truly delighted you've been able to tune in with us on this Thursday morning for the Thai Expat Daily Show. Now, before we do get started, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and hit that notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when the next podcast or live stream is available on the platform. Now, if you like listening to us on a podcast player, there is a link down below the description where you will find a vast array of podcast players hosting the show. And finally, if you want to support the show, the easiest and the best way is to become a channel member. Details down below in the description. But now that's all done and dusted. Let's jump into the top trending stories and opinions from today. So Thailand's economy is in trouble, described by the finance minister as a rich man with no future, relying on past wealth with no clear direction. New investment has dropped to 20% of GDP compared to 40% in the previous years. Growth this year may reach 2.7%, slightly better than the decade of 1.9% average, but still underwhelming. Now, low inflation at 0.7 to 0.8% reflects deeper issues. Stagnant jobs, rising household debt at 90% of GDP, and SMEs struggling with limited funding. Now, public debt is near 66% of GDP, leaving little room to borrow without hitting the 70% ceiling. Now, the finance ministry calls for modernizing exports, adopting new tech, and investing in workforce skills. Achieving sustainable growth above 3% demands bold action and public-private cooperation. Now, that's according to himself. Thailand faces a choice to adapt or risk squandering its future. So this was brought up in a recent talk that the finance minister was giving, and it does spell a lot of doom and gloom. But let's break it down for you as best we can, I guess. So Thailand's economy isn't just running on empty, it's being drained from within. The numbers are grim: minimal growth, rising debt, and little room to maneuver. But the bigger question is, where is the money going? So let's start with tourism, and one of the big drivers here in the economy. It doesn't seem that we see the benefits of tourism. Billions flow in each year, but where does it go and end up? Roads, infrastructure, better public services? Hardly. Well, instead, we're stuck wondering why the country's backbone industry doesn't seem to tighten the load for the average Thai worker. And then there's the tax issue. Out of 70 million people, let's see, approximate population of Thailand, only between 2 and 3 million people are reportedly paying income tax. Now, how is that sustainable? If the system is so broken that only a fraction contributes, where's the accountability? And for those paying tax, do they feel it's being used wisely? I guess probably not. Now, low salaries, the cost of living keeps climbing, yet wages stagnate, SMEs are drowning in debt, workers can't make ends meet, and the cycle continues. It's no wonder household debt is at 90% of GDP. People are barely surviving, so let alone thriving. And finally, the elephant in the room, something nobody wants to talk about: corruption. How much money is lost to corruption each year? Nobody has a figure because they'd have to admit that there is corruption. Funds that could go towards schools, hospitals, and infrastructure instead line private pockets. It's not just a moral failure, it's an economic catastrophe. So Thailand needs more than just band-aid solutions. It's time for transparency, fair taxation, and real investment in people's lives in the country. If they don't address these root issues, they'll remain stuck, running on empty with no clear road ahead. The question is, will anyone in power have the courage to act? And I'd love to know what you think about this. Do you think the Thai government have the courage to start to do the things that are necessary to improve the economy? Your thoughts, your comments down below in that comment section. Now, moving along, Thai police successfully rescued 5 Chinese tourists on Tuesday who narrowly escaped falling victim to a cross-border human trafficking scheme. The tourists en route to Pattaya, a popular beach destination, were unexpectedly diverted towards Mae Sot, a border town near Myanmar, in what authorities believe was an attempt to traffic them. Now, the group was intercepted at the Hoya Hin Fon security checkpoint on the Mae Sot Tak road during a routine vehicle inspection. All 5 had valid passports and, through a Chinese interpreter, expressed shock upon learning they were being taken to the border. They had no intention of traveling to Mae Sot and had been unaware of the change in their destination. Now, authorities suspect the tourists were being trafficked to Myawaddy, Myanmar, where they could have been forced to work in illegal scam call centers. Myawaddy is known hotspot for similar trafficking operations. After the rescue, officials safely transported the group to their original destination of Pattaya. Police Lieutenant General Wansuk, Assistant National Police Chief, was in May sought to oversee anti-trafficking efforts and was briefed on the case. Now, during his visit, he inspected a victim identification center currently housing other rescued trafficking victims. We are implementing stricter border control measures, including AI-assisted monitoring systems to prevent human trafficking and transnational crime, Lieutenant General Wansuk stated. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to dismantling trafficking networks, particularly those operating along the Thai-Myanmar border. Now, the rescue operation was a collaborative effort involving the 3rd Army Region, TAC Immigration Office, local authorities, and international NGOs. Investigations into the trafficking network behind the incident are ongoing. Now, the increasing use of Thai nominees by foreign businesses is sparking concerns among hoteliers who fear the practice could harm Thailand's tourism reputation. Now, according to the Thai Hotels Association Monthly Sentiment Index, many hotel operators are worried about illegal foreign-owned businesses, particularly those run by Chinese entrepreneurs. The THA president revealed that around half of hotels in Thailand see these illegal operators as a threat, with 3-star and lower rated hotels feeling the greatest impact. Now, these establishments directly compete on price, which could lead to damaging price wars and tarnish the country's tourism image. Now, 4-star and higher rated hotels are less affected as they target different markets. However, they still express concerns about how illegal businesses might undermine Thailand's overall tourism reputation. The government must intensify efforts to crack down on these businesses as their efforts ripple across the entire industry, the THA president said. Now, on a brighter note, the high season has lifted hotel occupancy rates here in Thailand. In October, the nationwide rate climbed to 57.6%, up from 54% last year, with November expected to hit 68%. 4-star hotels and above perform better with 60.2% occupancy compared to 52.7% for 3-star and below. Now, despite their occupancy, luxury hotels are grappling with labor shortages, particularly in critical roles like cleaners and waitstaff, impacting service quality. Now, the THA president urged the government to provide training programs to attract more workers into the hospitality sector. Hoteliers are also calling on authorities to stabilize the Thai baht, ensuring it remains competitive against other currencies. Additionally, the THA president stressed the need for faster approval of soft loans for hotels affected by flooding, allowing them to recover in time for the high season. So let's take a little bit of a step back and look at this story and look at the claims from Thailand's hotels about foreign businesses allegedly threatening the country's tourism industry. While concerns about illegal practices and price wars are somewhat valid on the surface, the argument that these businesses could destroy Thailand's tourism reputation, seems a bit, exaggerated. First, competition, legal or otherwise, has always been a driving force for innovation. Now, if some foreign-run establishments offer lower prices, shouldn't that push Thai hoteliers to up their game? Instead of worrying about price wars, they could focus on differentiating their services, improving quality, and delivering unique experiences that illegal competitors can't match. Second, the notion that businesses harm Thailand's tourism image assumes tourists care more about who owns a hotel than the experience they receive. Most travelers prioritize affordability, convenience, and service quality over the ownership structure. If foreign businesses are meeting those demands, isn't it a net positive for the industry as a whole? And then there's the claim that the 3-star hotels are suffering the most. While it's true they face direct competition, these smaller establishments often have the advantage of local charm and authenticity, something foreign operators may struggle to replicate. Instead of viewing competition as a threat, these hoteliers should lean into their strengths. Finally, let's talk about those labor shortages they've been going on about. Well, the lack of workers isn't the fault of foreign businesses. It's a systemic issue in Thailand's hospitality sector. Blaming outsiders won't fill empty positions. What's needed are better wages, better working conditions, and training programs to attract top talent. The tourism industry thrives on diversity and competition. Rather than calling for a crackdown, Thai hoteliers should focus on adapting and innovating. After all, if foreign businesses are outperforming local ones, maybe the real issue isn't them, maybe it's the Thai And with that, I'd love to know your opinion on this story and where you feel Thai hoteliers are doing well and where they're struggling. Your opinion, as always, down below in that comment section. And finally, a tragic accident in Nong, Prue, Chonburi has left one person dead and another seriously injured after a sedan collided with a motorcycle on Monday afternoon. The incident occurred around 12:30 p.m. near a bridge over motorway number 7, according to Police Lieutenant Colonel Jurasak, investigating chief at Nong Prue Police Station. At the scene, police discovered a Honda motorcycle lodged in front of the car, which had sustained severe damage. The motorcycle rider, identified as 30-year-old Virat Sangtong, was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries, while the pillion rider, 33-year-old Mr. Lam Run, tragically died at the scene. The car's driver, 40-year-old Ekaterina Kutsaplova, was arrested following the crash. Local authorities reported that she went into a state of shock upon learning of the fatality. Her nationality has not been disclosed. Now, according to the initial investigation, the sedan struck the motorcycle while traveling on the road adjacent to the motorway, dragging the bike more than 50 meters before coming to a stop. Police are continuing their investigation to determine the cause of the incident and accident.